I'm just as late as I want to be. Let's see. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Let me see. Can I tag some people? Hmm. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Let me see. Can I tag some people? Hmm. Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Sisters in Battle podcast. I am your host, Lucretia. Looks like I had some technical difficulties a little earlier. I was supposed to be on at 7, y'all. It's 7:12. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. And then my background is acting a little weary, so I had to just take my Sisters in Battle podcast out the the backdrop, and I'm gonna do something a little bit different. But listen, I just want to thank everybody for coming on. I'm your host, Lucretia, and tonight I'm going to be stepping into something really, really deep. Something that men, I'm going to say men too, but women of faith, they wrestle with in silence. And this revelation, it came to me one night while I was lying in the bed, and the Spirit spoke to me clearly. And it said, if you stop entertaining the familiar spirits that tell you they love you quick and then try to force you into relationships, I can heal the part of you that keeps following what's familiar instead of what's divine. Y'all, that word pierced me to my to my soul. It pierced me to my soul because let me say this, sometimes the enemy doesn't come to destroy you. He comes to distract you through counterfeit connections. And sister and brother, I'm not going to leave the brothers out. I'm not going to leave the brothers out. Okay? Distraction is it's just as deadly as destruction if it delays your destiny. So tonight, I'm going to be talking about how to break emotional agreements, exposing spiritual counterfeits, and reclaiming your peace. Because let me say this right here, your peace is important. Your peace is important. So the first thing I want to talk about tonight on the Sisters in Battle podcast is recognizing the counterfeit. Recognizing the counterfeit. And I want to talk some real, listen, let me say this. A part of this is what's called emotional warfare. And a lot of people don't understand that spiritual warfare have different levels. It have different levels that you have to go through. And it's different types of warfare, okay? So this is emotional warfare that I want to talk about that most people may not kind of see it right then or feel it. They may not even know what's going on, but every man and woman listening probably know that feeling. Because when someone come into your life saying all the right things, you're moving fast, promising you the world, they talk about love like it's instant. But what's really happening is manipulation wrapped in flattery. I mean, let's be real. See, familiar spirits know your language. They study your patterns, your prayers, your pain, and then guess what? They send someone who mimics what look godly but carries a hidden agenda. Man, listen, I don't know who I'm talking to out there, but I know this story here so well based on experience because I've literally had men to tell me, I've studied you. And I'd be like, what did you study? Like what did you really study? What are you studying? You know? And they said it like it was a compliment, right? Like it meant they admired my strength, my faith, or my discipline. But the truth of the matter is, they all failed the exam because they studied my surface, not my spirit. They observed my habits, but not my holiness, right? They wanted access to my peace, but didn't want accountability for their own patterns. And my spirit told me they're studying you with the wrong intentions. They want to they want to imitate, not intercede. They're drawn to your light, but not committed to the all. Listen, you got a lot of people that may be drawn to your light, but they're not committed to the all. Ooh, y'all, look, any pastors out there, that'll preach. Okay, that'll preach. Any pastors out there, that's gonna preach. Okay, because when people study you for advantage instead of understanding, they're not students, they're spiritual opportunists. And God would never let counterfeits pass the test of discernment if you stay submitted to Him. And that's what I want to talk about, because I want to pause for a discernment check. Anybody out there? And I want you to ask yourself this question. Ask yourself this. When they showed up, did my peace grow or did it shrink? That one question right there will tell you everything. Because peace is heaven's approval, y'all, and confusion is hell's confirmation. So I want to transition this over to breaking the agreement, because a lot of times as individuals and men and women of faith, sometimes we can kind of overlook these type of things. And sometimes we get into situations where we say, well, hey, what's bound to happen is bound to happen. No, that's not how they go. So I want to bring some clarity to someone who's actually experiencing this, because I've always learned that if God allow you to be delivered and He bring you over something, it's your duty to help somebody else. So somebody going to catch this podcast tonight, and I pray that it helps somebody. But I'm going to talk about breaking the agreement. Because the familiar spirit, it can't function without your cooperation. Look, it gains access when you keep entertaining, if you keep responding, or you're trying to fix what God already done exposed. I had to look in the mirror and admit that I wasn't the victim, okay? I wasn't the victim. I was a participant. I kept following familiar patterns because I confused intensity with intimacy. And sometimes we can kind of get that, we can get confused in that area, ladies, men. I thought quick connection meant divine alignment, but that's not God's rhythm. Woo! I learned that the hard way. Let me tell y'all something. God's love is steady. It's not rushed. I've had people that tried to rush me into relationships quick. And I was like, wait a minute now, hold on. But God's love is peaceful, not pressured. It brings order, not emotional chaos. So I had to renounce every emotional tie that made me feel seen but not safe. Everybody, even men, wants to feel safe, right? You want to feel in that safe place with a woman, just as if a woman wants to feel safe with you. Every conversation that stirred my emotions, but it kind of starved my discernment. And let me tell you this, when you break that agreement, the enemy loses access. He don't like to lose access. Look, you'll feel that shift. Your spirit gets lighter. Your mind even gets clearer, and your peace becomes your new boundary. Listen, I got some battle tools, right? Because let's get into the battle tools, right? Because it's one thing to be delivered from something, but another thing to stay free. Deliverance is like maintenance, right? So I want to talk about some battle tools, y'all. And I want to say this right here. Here's the thing. And I'm going to go over some battle tools. I got 3 battle tools. And if you're at home, you can write these down. If not, listen, just soak it all up, take it in, right? For one, you got to pause before you pour. Don't rush to invest emotionally before you pray spiritually. This is something that we got to do. I know we're supposed to consult God in everything that we do, but sometimes we leave him out of friendships, relationships, marriages, and we wonder why they don't prosper. We wonder why they are not stable. Ask God, is this person divinely sent or emotionally sent? Divine love flows, counterfeit love forces. All right. Two, you got to discern the fruit, not feelings. Listen, I'm testing everybody's spirit. In this season, everybody can't have access to you. Your space is limited. Anything that you do in life has to be intentional and it has to have a purpose behind it. Chemistry can deceive, but fruit never lies. If their presence brings anxiety, confusion, chaos, distraction, toxicity, emotional manipulation, deflection, lack of accountability, let me tell y'all something. That's rotten fruit. Don't be deceived. That's rotten fruit. You'll know them by the fruit. The Bible said, test them spirits by the spirit. You'll know, and you'll know them by their fruit and not flattery. Three, pray before you proceed. You don't need to figure out people. And that's something I had to learn. Like, Christian, it's not for you to figure them out, right? Whatever needs to be revealed. And if you truly in God, the Holy Spirit gonna reveal to you whether this person is good for you or this person is not. See, people that don't come dressed up in a red cape, they come up just like you like it. So if God is not in it, you'll feel disturbance. Listen, if God is not in it, you will feel disturbance. God will shake some stuff up. He'll expose some negative characters in your mate. It's up to you to discern the voice of God. Because if he or she is of God and God is in it, it's gonna feel like peace. Not saying that it's perfect, but it's gonna be peaceful and not a confusion. See, that's where the enemy try to deceive us. See, he'll send somebody across your path dressed up just like you like it, but they wrapped up in confusion. These are guardrails in the spirit. And when you apply them like that, your discernment will stop being emotional and start being spiritual. And that's where that power is. That's where your power is. Now, I want to lead you guys. Listen, let me say this. I don't care if y'all driving home, laying in the bed. See, let me tell y'all something. Because a lot of people, God give us all the same. Well, everybody has gifts and talents. Let me say this. Let me sidetrack a little bit. God is no respecter of person. What he do for one of his children, he gonna do for all. We got the same ample amount of time, right? You have to make a choice. See, when you make yourself available to be used by God, he can use you. He can use you too. He ain't looking for no perfect people to use. He looking for those who are willing to do what he said do. He ain't looking for perfect individuals. He looking for imperfect people who gonna do the job. Now, I want to say this right here, guys, because look, I just had to say that. The spirit just led me to say that. But let me say this right here. And another thing, you got to be bold. Can't be scared. Because he ain't looking for no weak soldiers. It's just like if you go to the military, right? You got to be trained to shoot. You got to be trained to kill. So God ain't looking for no weak soldiers. He needs some strong soldiers on his team. So the thing about the deliverance in this moment here, y'all, I want you guys, even after this episode, after I get through finished talking on this episode, I want you guys to take a moment and write this down. Like, what patterns have I been calling love that were actually familiar spirits in disguise? And the reason why I can recognize familiar spirits, and I recognize them quick, you know, I I want to say this to everybody out there. You got to be honest with yourself because healing starts when you see the truth without fear. And I want to say this right here. The good thing about this is that the woo, the familiar spirits, they don't come looking dark and look, let me say this. Familiar spirits, they don't come looking dark and dangerous, okay? They come looking like everything you prayed for. They come with the right words. They come with the right energy. I know y'all ladies and men can attest to this. Y'all can really relate to this if you really done been through. Okay? The right timing, but guess what? It's the wrong spirit. These spirits, like I said, they study your patterns, your preferences, and sometimes that's why they slip through undetected. Okay? They slip through undetected. I know there are brothers listening who can say the same thing. And see, when people study you, they are attracted to the anointing, but they unprepared for its requirements. A lot of people come your way, they unprepared. And I said to myself, for a person to tell me that they studied me for years and turned around and still failed the exam, that's tough. That's real tough. And let's be honest, some of us aren't under attack. We're in agreement. Like we cannot continue to entertain what God told us to exit. The enemy doesn't need new strategies when the old ones keep working. He keeps sending the same type of person, different face, same spirit, because he knows you got a pattern. For my brothers, any of my brothers that's on here listening, maybe it's the woman who always needed rescuing, right? Pulling on your protector spirit, but she draining your peace. For my sisters, maybe it's the man who talks kingdom, right? But he lives carnally, rushing you into commitment before showing consistency. Either way, the cycle repeats because the spirit is familiar. Y'all don't hear me. Do y'all hear me out there? Share this live video because somebody need to hear it. Somebody is in a cycle right now that they think that is love, but it's all wrapped up in confusion. Anything that's causing you, that's draining your spirit, you need to walk away from it. Anything that's causing confusion, God ain't gonna put nobody in your life to be of confusion because God is not the author of confusion. Let me tell y'all something. I want y'all to hear me real well. You cannot be healed from what you keep entertaining. That's something that I had to learn. I learned that a long time ago. And I'm speaking from a healed place. I'm speaking out of love. And I know that this podcast is going to help somebody. Somebody is going through a cycle right now. I had this one lady that asked me, she said, Lucretia, she said, as women, how do we even spot a counterfeit? How do you discern the difference between good and evil? Because as women, we are the weaker vessel, which we are, which we are. But let me say this. You can't rebuke what you still respond to. See, you got to stop entertaining. If you want to break that cycle of familiar spirits, you got to stop entertaining it. God said, I want to heal the part of you that craves the counterfeit because of what you lacked growing up. That's why this battle is spiritual. It's not personal. It's spiritual. I keep listen, everything we deal with in life right now is spiritual, whether you want to believe it or not. You're not just breaking ties with a person. You're breaking covenant with a pattern. I had to break covenant with a pattern. Because I'm like, Lord, why I keep attracting these counterfeits? I know I'm a good woman. I know I'm a good woman. But I'm not just saying that all people that I've ran across was just a counterfeit. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that because I've had some solid people, that I ran across, right? But the spirit just, you how can two walk together unless they agree? Amos 3:3 tells us that. But I want to tell y'all this: we got to armor up, right? And I gave you guys some battle tools. But I want to also say this right here. If it's God, time is going to reveal alignment. If it's the enemy, time is going to reveal agenda. A lot of people have hidden motives when they come across your path. That's why I said in this season, brothers and sisters, your discernment has to be sharp. It has to be sharpened. My spirit just won't allow any and everybody to get connected to me because I can tell your intentions right off. Chemistry can cloud clarity. Feelings are pretty fleeting, but fruit is evidence. Jesus said you're going to know them by their fruits. If they produce confusion, inconsistency, or compromise, that's rotten fruit. Listen, the spirit will never lead you into entanglement. If you don't feel peace, you need to pause. You need to pause and reflect. If God is silent, don't move. Because let me tell y'all something. Prayer exposes motives faster than conversation ever will. So if you are a praying woman or a praying man, God is going to reveal to you what you need to see. So the good thing about this is, guys, listen, this episode wasn't just for one side. It's for all of us that's on the battlefield. Because men and women alike have been wounded by manipulation, by charm, and by counterfeit love. But here's the good news, y'all. Listen, healing is here. God needs some people whole and healed. Y'all need the love from a healed and whole place because you got so many people who are unhealed, who are trying to jump into relationships with healed people, and then they're damaging this person. It's like a cycle. Come on, y'all. When you break the cycle of the familiar, you make room for the divine. As a healed and whole woman, I can see and sense when something is fake and phony and when it's not of God. God will remove them. Because I'm a praying woman. Yeah. Real love doesn't rush, it reveals. Real connection don't confuse, it confirms. Listen, a real peace would never compete with chaos. Listen, my peace is my portion. Anything that brings confusion, and I'm telling y'all, anything that brings confusion to your life, you need to pause and say, you know what? God is not the author of confusion. Of course, you may have agreements, but anybody that's just toxic and I don't know, they just made the toxic the new norm. But I understand that there are some deeper issues when it comes down to individuals acting this way and they're operating out of an unhealed place. The enemy is deceiving. See, the enemy come to seek, kill, steal, and destroy, and he don't want brothers and sisters. He don't want us healed. Because when we hold and heal, oh my gosh, y'all just don't know how much power that is. That's power. We gotta stop entertaining familiar spirits that rush love and force commitment. Listen, I'm gonna give y'all some scriptures too. And if you can write these down, write them down. 1 John 4:1 says, test the spirits. Matthew 7:16, the fruit reveals. James 3:17, wisdom from above equals pure, peaceable, and gentle. Philippians 4:7, peace guards your heart. And 2 Corinthians 11:14, angel of light disguise. Y'all listen. We got to be able to ask questions when it comes down to if somebody ever run across your path and say they studied you. And I said that's the inappropriate word to tell anybody that you studied them. And you still fail. But if you're really a believer, God is going to test you in that. And you got to be able to ask this question. Do this person really actually follow Jesus or they just like your anointing, right? See, it's all about being truthful, honest, humble, under correction. Correction is love. If you can't stand to be corrected, or if you lack accountability, that's an issue. That's an issue, and it's draining. You got to let God heal what is broken within you. You got to. And the good thing about this is that a lot of times we hop into situations before we invest more time. You got to be able to understand what are the intentions, what's the timeline, and the non-negotiables, right? I'm choosing peace and alignment. Anything that comes across my path has to be aligned. If it's causing you stress, you gotta let them know, hey, listen, I won't be continuing this. I'm gonna wish you well. I'm gonna pray for you. Look, we gotta start vetting in this day and age. Listen, y'all, if you're over the age of 40, I mean, I just really now it's just not even about the age, okay? Because you got 50-year-olds, you got some that's over 40. That's, I don't know, the mindset is just not, the walk is not aligning with the talk. I'm just gonna say that because so many people, I hear so many men that say they want peace, but what are you doing to bring peace, right? And I'm just gonna be honest, man. I'm not beating y'all up, but I'm just speaking facts and I'm speaking truth. A woman's reaction is based on how a man treats her, and a lot of men don't understand that. But it goes both ways. You can kind of look at it in both ways. But what I'm trying to display today is breaking the cycle of familiar spirits. Same spirit. Have you ever been in a situation or a relationship where you've dated different people, but it's the familiar spirits, it's just a different face? They got the same characteristics, and you wonder why you keep going through a repetitive life cycle? You're entertaining familiar spirits. So you got to be able to check in. You got to see how your peace is. Listen, peace, God is the God of peace. Listen, it's just all about peace. Okay. So you guys, let me say this. We got to break the agreement with confusion, control, and counterfeit love. I said no more counterfeits. I got a book coming out, From Counterfeits to Real Love. It will be coming out real soon. That book will be released. I will be launching, doing a book interview, a book launch as well. Actually, that story is being written, and God is rewriting my love story. But we got to be able to cancel the permission that you gave through attention, through fantasy, or fear. Close that door to late night soul ties. Okay, y'all? Ladies, stop answering the phone at 1 o'clock in the morning. But listen, you got to be able to bless and release every person that you attach to outside of God's will. I'm just going to be honest. If we can get back to the basics, guys, I promise you, there will be more prosperous and more stable relationships and marriages if we get back to the basics. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard. But before we close out, guys, listen, let me say this. If this podcast has blessed any brother, any sister that's dealing with this situation with familiar spirits, this is a part of what's called emotional warfare. It's part of spiritual warfare, okay? And I want to say this to everybody. Even as a certified life coach, I can't tell nobody to be with their mate. I can't tell nobody to do anything, okay? But here's the thing. If anything is causing confusion in your life, chaos, control, manipulation, lack of accountability, all of those characteristics is not of God. If it's draining your spirit, you got to be able to learn how to get strength and power to walk away from anything that's no longer serving the purpose in your life. You got to remember who you are and whose you are. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in on tonight. I had some technical difficulties. The enemy didn't want me to get it out. I was a little late, but guess what? The message is out there. And listen, God said, he that had an ear, let him hear it. Listen, I'm just being obedient and doing what I got to do. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Sisters in Battle podcast. But before I close out, here's a few ways that you guys can connect, grow, and take care of business with purpose. If you need promotion for your business, your brand, or your ministry, listen, I've got some ad spots available right here on the Sisters in Battle podcast. You can email me at sistersinbattlepodcast at gmail.com to place your ad. Get your message in front of a faith-driven audience. I go live every Thursday. I had to push the time back to 7. But I go live on 5 platforms. Hopefully it'll be more. And I will be streaming on a lot of different platforms as well. But we'll most definitely get your ad, your message out in front of a faith-driven audience. If you need help writing or publishing your book, listen, whether it's an inspirational story, a devotional, faith-filled content, Consult God First Publishing is here to serve. Go to consultgodfirstpublishing.com or email info at consultgodfirstpublishing.com to bring your vision to life. And listen, y'all, if you want to wear your faith with boldness, I just relaunched Lucretia's Anointed Hands, inspirational tees, custom design, faith-based tees where you can wear boldly. I got some hoodies on deck. They are unisex. They're unisex, y'all. So it's for the men and for the women. Go ahead and follow that page, Lucretia's Anointed Hands. Support the brand. Rep your faith wherever you go. But also, guys, look, bet y'all say, golly, she just do all this stuff. What she got going on? But look, if you need life insurance, all right, I am your trusted life insurance agent. I am licensed in over 20 different states. Let me help protect you and your family the right way. I'm your trusted life insurance agent. And you can email me directly or contact me directly on social media. Insurance by Lucretia at gmail.com, because coverage matters and legacy matters as well. But if you're in Alabama and you just need a professional notary, I got you covered in that too. Look, I'm your trusted notary, public servant, Alabama at large. You can DM me on social media, book your notary appointment as well. Also, too, I share my website as well. And listen, guys, let's continue to collaborate with one another. Collaboration over competition. Support the faith, support the purpose, support people. And like I said, if this episode has blessed you, y'all share it. Tag it with a sister or a brother who needs to hear it. And make sure you go like, follow, and subscribe to the Sisters in Battle podcast wherever you listen. Y'all have a blessed day. This has been another episode of Sisters in Battle podcast. I'm your host, Lucretia. And until next time, stay sharp, stay anchored, and keep your mind armor. Be blessed.